Okay, so now I have the silhouette of my different animals, and I'm just going to start with one today. And I have some oil pastels, and I'm going to use the oil pastels to add my smaller details. Since we're going to be painting these animals small into our landscapes, we need really focused and small details. So today, to help me out, I'm going to use my oil pastels. And I'm going to take a look at all the different colors that I see. Today I want you to think about texture, and texture is the way that something feels. And we can use our oil pastels in a couple different ways to show texture. Please keep in mind, on this paper we're just practicing, so it's certainly okay to make mistakes and try things out in new ways. So just like yesterday, I'm starting with one area of my animal. For me, I might start with the head. And I'm just going to look at the different colors that I see in the head. So I see white, I see gray, I see black, I see like a yellowish, greenish yellowish color. And of course I'm going to try to find that in my oil pastels. So I might start out with gray, and again, I'm thinking of the different shapes that I see. So I see a white triangular shape right on the nose. So I'm going to make sure that I leave that space for my white. Now, as I'm going, I'm still looking back at everything that I see. So every few seconds, I'm just pausing and I'm taking a look at what I see. We are drawing from observation. And observation means you look closely at something, almost as if you're a scientist. So every single time I finish an area, I'm just going back and checking to make sure I'm still following along with what I see. If I look super closely, I can see a little light highlight right along the edge. Here I'm going to add that in. Okay, so again, I'm focusing on just this front part of my lemur here. And I'm going to go in for the eyes, finding a color that's close to what I see. And I look closely and I see a little black dot in its eyes. And there's certainly a lot of black around the eyes, forming triangles. Okay, so I got the colors of the face basically how I like it right now. I could definitely go back and fix some things, which I'll do after. Now I want to talk to you more about texture. So on some of our animals, we see fur, we might see feathers. When we're drawing the different textures of the way things feel, our oil pastels can really help us to achieve the different textures. So here's how we can do it. I'm going to find my gray again. Here it is. And as I am adding my oil pastel onto my animal, I'm going to make these small strokes in the direction of the fur. So I know that the fur is traveling from the head all the way to the tail. So as I'm doing it, I can make these little strokes. They're basically like little lines going all the way to the fur, and that's what's going to help me add my color. And we painted with a neutral color, and I actually see some of that brownish color coming through in my photograph. So in those areas, I'm going to leave it as is. I can also take my finger and I can smudge with my oil pastel. I see in this photograph that the animal looks really fuzzy. So if yours looks fuzzy too, maybe you take your finger and you start to smudge and get that fuzzy texture. Remember, today we're practicing. So it's okay to try different things in different areas. See if it works. If it doesn't work, then you know. Now I might go back and look really closely. I see little white fuzzes on the back of my animal. So I can go ahead and start to incorporate that. I also see some darker areas which I might go in with in a little bit with my black. I'm keeping in mind these stripes aren't perfectly straight. They're kind of bulging out. So when I'm doing that on my animal, I'm going to make sure that my stripes are changing in width as I'm going along. That means the thickness of the stripes. And I'm still using my oil pastel to show that texture. Okay, after I feel like I'm done, I'm just going to go back and double check. I'm going to see what areas I need to improve. Because odds are the first time you do it, you're not going to get it perfectly right, and that's okay. I can already see some areas on my animal that I need to change. Using my finger to smudge my oil pastel. I know I'm going to get some on my finger, but that's okay. We always get wipes. I'm going to be careful not to smudge my black too much because it does get really messy really quickly. By the way, it's absolutely okay if these break a little bit. If it does, you just need to peel the paper back or use the broken piece. Totally normal for them to break. Okay, so once you're all done, again, I want you to just double check. See if you can get that texture in by changing the stroke or the direction of the way you use the oil pastels. I'm seeing a lot of like these lines and creases in here, so I'm going to go ahead and work on that as well to change that up. We're looking closely at what we see. We're using our oil pastel to go ahead and add those details to make our animals come to life. You guys did a great job last time making the silhouette of your animals, so let's keep up the great work.